Google has not one, not two, but three amazing language models on the way, as well as a bunch of other state-of-the-art AI models in fields like code and image generation. Google is about to kill the hype around GPT-3 and other language models. Almost a week ago, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, issued a code red due to its impact on Google's search engine business and ordered an army of AI developers to roll out new products as soon as possible. GPT-3 is based on Google's Transformer architecture, which was introduced almost 6 years ago. Despite people calling Google's search engine outdated, Google's AI models are actually several years ahead of OpenAI's GPT-3. Google is not going to sit around and watch this happen. In the age of AI, Google's AI is about to emerge from its chrysalis after more than a decade of research and development. And when it emerges, the world will never be the same again. As a starter, they have a chatbot named Sparrow, which is very similar to OpenAI's GPT-3. Sparrow is the weakest of Google's three language models, based on the Chinchilla model, which only has 70 billion parameters. However, due to Google's advanced training techniques, it is outperforming GPT-3 with 170 billion parameters on every possible benchmark test. Sparrow is a fine-tuned version of Chinchilla, just like GPT 3.5 is a fine-tuned version of GPT-3. The two models are almost on the same level, except Sparrow has the advantage of being trained to deliver evidence for its answers and provide links when the user asks for it. This seemingly small difference is a huge win for Sparrow, as the inability to validate answers is holding a lot of users back. The Sparrow model is a product of DeepMind, one of Alphabet's subsidiaries. For over a decade, DeepMind has been at the forefront of AI research, creating such groundbreaking AI systems as AlphaGo AlphaZero and AlphaFold, which changed the entire AI research landscape. The Science magazine's top 10 breakthrough of 2022 featured two research products from DeepMind: AlphaCode, the best programming AI in the world. AlphaCode was above the median in competitive programming against challenges created by Codeforce, and AlphaTensor, an AI for efficient matrix multiplication. Another step towards AI making a better AI is the infinite loop. Aspire is great and is on the same level as OpenAI's GPT, maybe even a little better or worse, but it's not Google's best AI model yet. They have a lot more to offer. Remember Blake Lemoine, the Google engineer who was fired from Google because he claimed that Lambda, Google's state-of-the-art chatbot, is sentient. Blake is not a regular person. In fact, he's not even a regular Google engineer or AI developer. He's an AI expert who was specifically working on Lambda to push it to its limits. Blake does research on how different AI systems can be biased and how to remove bias from those systems. He was specifically testing Lambda for things like gender, ethnicity, and religion bias. If Lambda can convince Blake that it is essentially sentient, regardless of whether that's true or not, it will blow an ordinary person's mind. Right after ChatGPT was released, Blake Lemoine tweeted, "I love how people are talking about how ChatGPT is going to replace Google while Google just quietly uses a more advanced dialect system behind the scenes." Blake stated in his interview on H3 podcast that ChatGPT is a big step in the right direction, but they are still a few years behind Google. A language model like ChatGPT is just a module inside Lambda. Lina, the language model inside Lambda, is quite similar to ChatGPT, but Lambda has a lot of other modules. Mina is actually quite comparable to GPT-3. For example, if you're having a conversation with GPT-3, you might ask, "Hey, can you tell me about," and it would have knowledge about that movie. Isn't in the model, that's the end of the conversation. They just say, "I don't know, yeah, exactly, sorry, dear." With Lambda, if you ask it about a movie, it can query the web, but would it actually ever watch the movie and learn from that? Yes. Well, see, that's very interesting. It might sound far-fetched, but I've been working as a SEO consultant for years now, and in the SEO community, it's not even a question that Google crawlers can see the web page almost like a human. It's not just reading the text, it can actually see the style of the page. If you have an image, it better be related to the subject, or Google will know. If you have a video, Google can identify the subject of the video. As you see, it recommends even portions of it for some queries. That means AI can understand the content of the video, at least to some degree. Now, it's just a matter of feeding this information to Lambda. It's like these crawlers are the eyes and ears of Lambda, plus an entire community of SEO experts are trying their best to help Google understand the content of the page. They use HTML tags, they provide accurate descriptions of every video, they use markups and schemas, so they can rank better, but they are indirectly providing clean data to Lambda, just the way you can understand it. Other than that, Lambda has been trained on dialogue, which makes it a lot more persuasive and also articulate. If you compare their answers, Lambda's answers are simple, short, and very much on point. If you're wondering why Lambda's test kitchen is not as impressive as it should be, it's because it's a dramatically restricted version of Lambda, and I would explain why Google had to restrict it so much in a moment. If you are not blown away already, let me tell you that even Lambda is not Google's most advanced AI model. Google's best model, which was upgraded almost 7 months ago, is Paul, probably the most advanced AI model in the world as far as I know. It's a 540 billion parameters model that was trained on more than 6,000 TPU chips, and its training data consists of social media conversations, filter web pages, books, code, and more. This model is multilingual, and of course, it can do code completion. It outperformed all previous AI models, such as GPT-3, Megatron, Turing, Chinchilla, and even Lambda on every measure. That wasn't even the jaw-dropping part. Google has a collection of really tricky tasks called Beyond the Imitation Game Benchmark, which includes difficult challenges like delivering persuasive arguments for false statements or finding a Russian proverb closest in meaning to a provided English proverb. Paul managed to surpass the average human success rate by just a few percent. To put it another way, Paul outperformed the average human success rate in solving the most challenging intelligence-based tasks. Make of that what you will. All of that is just one battlefront. Google has many more advantages, which I'll explain in a moment. Why doesn't Google release all these amazing products? As you may have seen, people like to force AI to say bad things and then post it on Twitter saying, hey, look, I tricked AI into saying a bad thing. What a surprise. Unlike OpenAI, Google has the biggest brand in the information industry and can't afford to tarnish its reputation even a little bit. Second, they are already making billions of dollars from search and have an established way of monetizing. They have no incentive to disrupt themselves, even if they took over the entire SaaS industry in a year and had a billion customers. They would more or less be in the same place because they are the search industry. They could even be worse off, as it's not clear that monetizing chatbots is as profitable as monetizing search results. Last but not least, the cost of computation is too high. OpenAI is handling a few million people by giving access to GPT-3. But if you're on the same level as Google, you're thinking about handling requests for billions of people, which requires a whole new level of computational resources, probably without charge. GPT-3 is impressive, but we would have to wait a lot longer to see a serious AI product from Google. However, Andrej Karpathy, the former director of AI at Tesla, tweeted this right after GPT-3 was released. All fallen empires begin the game in a sleeping status. Despite their complete development and immense power, the fallen empires will remain passive, staying within their borders and taking no action unless provoked. Google is afraid of hurting its reputation more than anything. But as Blake Lemoine said, if GPT-3 or some other product ever becomes a real threat, they just buy the bullet and release Lambda, which would smoke GPT-3. Even if we throw all that away and assume Google has a chatbot on the same level, or even slightly worse, than GPT-3, as you know, the cost of running these chatbots is not trivial, and making them a premium product would greatly impact their potential. So, it seems like ads are the way to go, and Google has a huge advantage here. They have the biggest ad agency in the world, all the connections, all the customers, all the data, and all the experience to make it work. OpenAI is not even in the picture when it comes to ads. They're not going to start an ad agency from scratch. That's not a trivial task. Google's ability to track users across the web, gather data, and identify users is a product of years of development and having broad access through a wide range of mostly free products that just gather data. It's not something that can be built in 2 or 3 years. More than that, AI as a chatbot is great, but no one wants to open a browser, log in, and use a chatbot for every little question every time. AI would probably be more accessible and also integrated inside different software applications. For example, everyone prefers code completion inside Visual Studio Code compared to a chatbot that has no context of the whole code and you have to copy paste in and out of it every time. Now, what product does OpenAI have to incorporate GPT inside of it? None. Alphabet, on the other hand, has Google Search itself, the most visited website on the planet. It's so popular that it has become a verb itself. Google it is the equivalent of search on the web. That default destination for asking questions is not going to easily change. Google itself is just one product. A question just popped in your mind. What about the Android operating system and Google Assistant? You can ask whatever you want. Do you want to write an email or do you want to write an automatic response to the Merry Christmas emails that you are receiving? Okay, the AI inside Gmail will help you out. Are you writing an essay or making a presentation for your class? No problem. The AI inside Google Workspace will help you with the research and will format the page for you. If you want a summary of a video before watching it, YouTube AI Assistant is going to help you. You're reading an article on the web and you want an explanation or translation? No problem. Chrome's AI Assistant has got you covered. And tons of other already established Google products would immensely benefit from AI. To be completely fair though, OpenAI can license their AI to other companies as well. Microsoft is already working with them to incorporate AI in their products. But it's not the same as having your own basket of products. At the end of the day, it's not even a fair comparison. OpenAI has less than 400 employees, while DeepMind alone has about 15 now. And Alphabet's total number of AI researchers and AI developers is about 20,000 people. When you consider the economy to be rigid, Google has a lot to lose and nothing to gain because they already have a monopoly on search. But if you view the economy as a point that is about to double or triple in size with the help of artificial intelligence, Google is one of those companies that will take a big chunk of it. You can expect Google's 2023 keynote to introduce new products or upgrades as soon as May. If the age of AI is actually here, Google is not in danger. Google is the danger. The company ignores AI knocking on the door and goes bankrupt. You think that of Google? No, Google is the one who knocks.